Yeah, I'm not worth it to see what they're carving. I can't remember what it was 3 weeks celebrated. No. So they were still. And then you get the gap. They put it in there, the clock.
I think we're good.
So I'm gonna call the meeting to order. We'll start with the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge of allegiance to the flag
Of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call.
Mochler,
Here.
Grayling,
Here.
Here.
Hammond.
Here. There, any conflict of interest declaration? Hearing none, approval agenda. Second. I have a motion and a second, any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign, motion passes. Approve minutes.
Move to approve. Second.
I have a motion and a second, any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye. Opposed, same sign, motion passes. Are there any visitors to be heard that aren't on the agenda? Hearing none. We got Lauren Hollenbeck's quarterly report. Did everybody get to see that? Is Lauren coming today?
I don't know whether she is or not.
Or is she, well,
I mean,
she's, technically she was done yesterday.
technically she was done, yes.
The last message I saw was something like, if you guys want me to come, I can come, and then I didn't see anybody respond, at least in any group.
There she is.
There she is.
All right.
Good morning.
Right on time.
We were just running you through the mud.
Did you, I didn't miss you until yesterday, but I can definitely.
Yes, I sent them out.
You did get them sent
We got
out.
You did, okay, perfect. Okay, well, I'll start then with my quarterly report, which, is this one with all the dates on it. Last time I was here, I didn't give you guys a quarterly report, so this is everything that we've been doing in 4-H world since June, July, August, September. Lots of stuff on here, lots of success for our Clay County 4-H members. The very back page is really top successes from state events. So state horse show, we had some great top placings at our regional dog show and at state fair. So that was really cool. But then also I just wanted to, this was the first year that I've been keeping track of all of our numbers, all statistics over all of our summer events and that kind of stuff, but this was the first year that I translated some of those into percentages, and so I just wanted to call your attention to these boxes on that second page there, because this last year, the percentage of our 4-H enrollment who participated in display exhibits was almost 72%, which is crazy to me. And then the percentage of our 4-H participants who are doing livestock projects is 44%. So almost half of our 4-H members are still bringing livestock into the fair. So it's really good for our numbers. And then the other thing that I had to share with you is our impact snapshot. This is for 4-H year 2023 to 2024, because our 4-H year just rolled over on October 1st. So this is from the last year, and it just highlights 4 different areas of 4-H and some successes that we've had there, along with some numbers. This is on that second page. So it's social skill development, where we had a club step up. They took promotion and community service kind of like into their own hands, and they really got into promoting the fair, and they did some interviews with people all over town telling them about the fair and the different activities that they're involved in. That was really cool. Workforce development, I have Phil Breed. I don't know if you guys are familiar with Birds on Bees, but he's been so great at partnering with 4-H lately. So he came to a beekeeping workshop. We have a state 4-H ambassador. That's the highest level of youth leadership that 4-H can have, and Lydia Anderson represented us from Clay County this last year. And then Food Fund 4-H was a program that you could sign up to participate in last fall, but we had really good feedback and participation from that as well. It was really fun for me to see the pictures and the surveys come back in from that. So they have that. And then I'm sure you guys also want to email this today's actually my last day. So I think Travis is gonna be as the liaison for 4-H. I'm sure that the state office will be contacting you, but then you guys can always contact Carrie or Raven or whatever to kind of be that middle person, but you guys will get updates.
How tightly coordinated or is your Clay County work with like the state office? Is there gonna be any, you know, will there be easy continuity to keep, you've had a lot of success in the last few years and really built up the program. Is that gonna be easy to hand off and have somebody else kind of step into and know everything that you've got going and all the relationships you have going? Is that
Yeah,
something that,
we, like, I think I've mentioned it every time I've been here, but we have such a great group of volunteers and leaders at the moment, and so I feel like they will help.
you're confident in that?
Yeah, that they'll help keep everything going. Raven has always been really great here, so I know she will keep that going, and hopefully the new
Institutional
person,
memory, yeah.
yeah, hopefully the new person can step in and fix some things up. Yeah, I've got some, the state office has, right from when I first started, they're doing like transition meetings and that kind of stuff now. If you guys are interested in attending a transition meeting, someone from the state office is going to come down. And that's gonna be November 17th, speaking of that, immediately after our recognition event, so probably like 3 p.m. at 4-H Center, it's a Sunday. And you guys are always all invited to a recognition event as well, so if you guys ever want to join. That's at 2 o'clock.
Been one in the past. It's a fun way to celebrate the kids.
Yep, so,
Well, thank you very much for your service to the county.
Yeah.
You really run a great program.
yeah,
And really like the-
yeah, and I appreciate you guys. I told Travis a couple weeks ago that I always appreciated your guys' support of 4-H program, and you know, hear horror stories from other counties and how their commission treats them, but I've never felt that way there, so thank you guys.
Thank you.
Yep.
Thanks a lot.
Yep, you're welcome.
I will be out of town on that Sunday, but I encourage the commissioners to be.
Larry, Brent? A request and a change order for structure 14-112-090.
So I'm just gonna ignore everything that's in the packet, right? And we'll just look at the one that came in email, and then that way we know that that's the right one. Is that right? 'Cause I feel like as I was looking at this, I was seeing like page 9 is a application for payment, and then we've got a change order on page 11, and then I felt like we've got another change order on page 13, but they were looking like they were, it seemed like they were just being duplicated, but I didn't know if that was correct or not. We received an email that seemed to just have, there's 2 documents attached, a change order and an application for payment, so that's what I'm going off of. Does that sound correct to everybody?
Yeah, that's correct.
Okay. I just wanted to make sure.
Brad's on Zoom, so I have a question
Yeah,
for him.
what came in the email seems clear, and as long as we're just confident that's the
Yeah.
updated one, then.
Yeah, I asked him to send me that yesterday afternoon because I wasn't confident that I didn't have duplicates or old copies, so.
All right. Just we're all on the same.
So there's, the amount's $115,305. This was for the concrete, low slump dense concrete overlay.
Yep. On Yachts Bridge. So,
I'll entertain a motion to approve that, Bill.
I move to approve the pay request and change order structure 14-1.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Both same sign, motion passes. Then we got a change order. Well, that was.
That was the same, I think, yeah, I think my motion approved both of those was my intention, so. Tiny bit under, that's always nice to see.
that's always a good thing.
Yeah. 6,000 less than we got.
Let's see, DOT certifications for structure 14-088-170 for renewal. Which one is that?
You got there. Just do the signatures for. That's a fun element, but the road ordinance and survey certifications good. Look right away. There's nothing in the right world. Yep. The approval, correct?
Yep, and there's two things to sign here. One is for that there's no utilities affected and the other one's a right of way.
Correct.
So I'll entertain a motion to approve those two.
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Both same sign, motion passes. Oh, purchase of a snow blower. Did we find one?
Yeah, they have one in stock. We got one in Butler in stock there, and we just wondered if we go off the bid for the one we got in February this year.
Could be able to. Because it was a state bid, wasn't it?
Yes, yep, it was, yep.
Should be
But
fine.
then, when he was talking about getting money out of the supply and material, if that's a possibility.
Doesn't matter which line has the money, as long as the overall bottom line is money.
Okay,
So,
because we've
Yes.
got plenty of money left in that, because we didn't do much paving or any chip season, so. That's what we were kind of hoping to get the money out of that.
Yep.
And go towards the new snow blower, and that way we have one here and one in Wakanda.
Because he was hoping to take the money from the paving, and set
Right,
that aside for next year too.
right, there's something to that too, yeah. There could be more discussion on it, maybe next week he'll be here, if you want to do any more discussion with him, table it until then. Or we can go ahead and, whatever you want to do.
But it's just gonna have to come out somewhere, so.
Yeah.
I think getting a hold of that right now would probably be more important than waiting 10 more days. So,
And it'd be nice to get it before winter, and, yeah.
it's not gonna snow.
Yeah. Get it.
Snow's a lot.
Cursing you guys for saying anything like that.
I just keep thinking back to that famous Halloween Day blizzard some years back.
I got so much candy. When they canceled Halloween, I went out anyway. It was like -20 and everybody just took their bowls and just dumped the whole thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
96.
92, 91.
Yeah, it'd been 91.
Oh, yeah, 91. I was thinking, I was 16.
I was working on a law school project at the time, that's my last year. Ah. Oh, really? Well, we don't have to go that far.
You guys have anything else?
No, should be good.
What's the bottom line on that snow blower?
$77,488.54.
Yeah, that'll give you time to get it fitted too, ready to go.
It should be a plug and play on that cap. On the
Should be.
paperwork.
Well, on one of them, the other one, we gotta get the other one hooked up for it, so we have two.
Yeah,
They just hooked up to one, right, new biddings is all.
Oh, okay.
That's all included, so. Just gotta haul Sioux Falls,
yeah.
get it set up. We can do that.
Sounds good. Thank you guys.
Thank you, guys.
Hey, this is Brad.
Yep.
Hey, just a couple things. One, Carrie, when that's all signed, just please scan me copies of the pay app and change order. I keep them in my files.
Yeah, I'll do that.
And then also, if someone can send me who you're, like, if you got a phone number for your FEMA contact or a FEMA contact, I just need to visit with them. We looked at a bridge the other, last week, and I want to make sure that there's some corrugated metal pipe and a flap gate gets added to that FEMA finding, and I don't think that it did. And I just want to visit with them about that. So I just need a contact if anyone has one.
Brad, is that for the county or the ditch board?
Okay.
That's for the county.
Okay. So
Yeah, we can send them Taya's number.
Oh, you got Taya also?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what I need. If you could just email or text me that, I appreciate it.
All right,
And I'll take care of it.
all right, will do.
Thank you.
Yep.
So Brad, it sounds like we're gonna have the same, the ditch board in the county have Taya is the person, so.
Okay, cool. I'll just hang on to that in case. I'm sure things will come up, so.
Okay.
Okay, if you got anything else for me, otherwise I'm gonna jump off.
I think we're good. Thank you.
All right, talk to you guys later.
Thanks.
All right, thanks, Alan. Thanks. Let's see, we can't start until 9:25 on that, so Andy?
In a couple of items, I don't know if you can, I sent Carrie a list, sometime back of some surplus and property that we're not using. Want to dispose of, and then I actually came up with a couple other lists yesterday. They got that. So what we have is, basically just a bunch of stuff in this building we need to dispose of. It's been historically pack rats because we reuse things, and we got a clean house here, before we move to the other building. These are just things we don't need. So there's a list of, patrol car equipment, just cages and parts that came out of old cars that won't go into new cars because they kind of design it pretty specifically these days. So it's just sitting here. We're gonna put that patrol car online to sell. I just want to have these items with it. At the same time, we have some recovered stolen property. Just a couple of lengthy lists of it. These were items that were recovered as believed to be stolen. We're confident they're stolen, just not stolen here, and couldn't find victims or any cases related to them. In one case, quite a bit of the stuff was known to be stolen in Sioux Falls, and we returned some of that to owners there. Otherwise, we've been sitting on this stuff for years, and we just need to get rid of it. So it's not the kind of stuff which we should throw away. I think it's worth selling so the county can, I believe, convert it to county property and then declare it surplus. I think Scott has had an opportunity to look over some of these tools. Some of them we might want to take, but some of them not.
All right, well, I moved to surplus all the car equipment that you listed there and to declare the stolen property, county property at this point. And then do you want a little time after it's been declared?
No, I think Scott's had his chance to look at it. I just
Okay.
want to I just want to let you know that we have talked to Scott about it.
So then, and then further declare that surplus.
Yeah, we'll just put it on that public online sale.
Second that.
Motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion passes.
Thank you.
Thanks.
I hope that we can come back to you guys with lists and the like in our motive when we move.
That's what you do when you move, right? That's your chance to get to the back of the closet. Yeah.
Thanks.
Thanks. We're just gonna wait a couple minutes, and Drew, you'll be up next. I guess actually, did everybody get to see vouchers and payroll?
Yeah. Yep.
I'll entertain a motion.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion passes. Then next week's meeting be rescheduled for November 7th. We got to canvass the election. Michael said he can't be here till 10. Should we do the first hour without him, or do we want to wait until 10?
I'm fine either way.
We should be okay with that. You know, it's relatively mechanical.
So just start at 9 and keep it the same?
Yeah, I think so.
I'm good with that.
I guess if we run into a problem, we'll recess.
And I hopefully can be here before then. So that, okay, school starts at 9, I've got a couple of things that I have to do before, you know. Happy to put on, but I should be able to get prior to 10 o'clock, but I hope it's closer to 9:30.
Yeah, we'll be fine.
Yeah, I think so. Normally it's pretty mechanical.
And
Yes, yeah.
We can certainly recess the weekend.
And we'll refrain from spilling any coffee on the tally sheets.
and you so.
Sure, there'll be some election stuff we can talk about,
Sure.
review.
It's 9:25. We can start.
Good. Second reading of our, rezone that we had 2 weeks ago, no changes or comments received since that last year.
Move to approve.
Second.
A motion and a second. Any further discussion? You good, Corey?
I'm good.
Hearing no further discussion, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign.
I think we have to do a roll call.
Oh, sorry.
Just
Okay.
so we're ready.
Roll call.
Okay,
So Hammond,
yes.
Easy,
Yes.
Graylow.
Yes.
Mochler.
Yes. Motion passes.
And tonight we got our, rezone for AMS, the
6 o'clock, right?
I will not be available for that. I thought so 29th is a conflict, so.
Okay.
But we should have 3, if all 3 of you can make it. I don't know if Betty will be back by then, but yeah.
I'll be there.
But it will be.
Yeah.
and we're at second reading.
Yep.
Sure.
Thanks. Kim. Yeah. Can't leave Deb now.
Hey, y'all.
It's on.
Yeah, it's always on.
Good morning, Jim Peters from William Chamber Development Company. Back again, as you know, on October 8th, we talked about the Grow a Million campaign, which is a 5 or 6 year capital campaign, 1.5 million. 4 pillars are, housing solutions, where we're looking for land, really to grow the workforce talent, we continue to grow the population of community. And then we talked amenities. We highlighted based on that campaign investment, if you choose to make it, what it does to our tax base, growing the tax base, like point 1 was 23 million, about 500,000, kind of 4.25 to 500 soon off the tip early, of which 37% of all taxes come back to the income. Talked about list 2, talked about some things out by Erickson addition, that's already on the tax roll. Another reference would be Les Schwab and Solid expansions, what that'll do over time, at the discretion of one, so we that sooner than later. I think you saw last week in the paper, we did break ground housing development across from ACE, about a $14 million total. There is a TIF, so about 20 years out, we'll get another good house, another 300,000-400,000 at that time coming to our coffers. So I'm just looping back, like we said in the meeting, you wanted to hopefully have some dialogue or whatever. I had asked for 130,000, 100 similar last time, and then you do the world change and then give some money. So I was asking 130,000 to be considered over a 5-6 years, starting in because you gotta get through your July. I'm just saying if you had discussion or,
We have not yet. We haven't met since
okay,
this is this was when we were gonna talk about.
oh, okay. Now I can just listen.
If you want.
Yeah, or I can stand there if you have questions and the documents I gave out, anything you want, so.
I really appreciated the, quantitative feedback that you've given us on the impact of the previous investments. And I think that in my mind, is the right way to think about it as an investment. I think that our constituents are asking us for lower property taxes, and unfortunately, sometimes you have to spend money to save money, and I think that this is one of those times. So I think that growing our tax base is the way that we're going to meet that particular challenge of lowering the mill levy for people. And also, there are all sorts of other friction points that we're seeing in our community that are because of the lack of affordable housing and lack of housing in general. So we need more supply. The BCDC is the entity that is best positioned to help make that happen. And so I think it's really important that we invest in it. We're going to reap benefits. And I think that personally, I think that the $130,000 level is appropriate. I think $26,000 a year over 5 years, starting in 2026, is an appropriate pledge. So I move to pledge $130,000 over 5 years, starting in 2026.
Second that.
Can we do that?
Encumber forward commissions?
I mean, I know we can, but since it's that far out of a budget, I mean, we're making decisions for 26, but I'm not against this.
Yeah.
I'm just the legality of it.
I understand.
If we can mandate something for a future budget that way. I understand it if we started it and then they would get encumbered, but can we encumber them going forward that way?
This is a pledge, a promise. It's not an appropriation. And that's the differentiation that I made in my own mind. Legal advice.
Yeah, I mean, I think that it's an interesting question because ultimately, 2026 brings another commission, another election. And so at some point, like what outside of really only every other right of 1 year goes by at a time when we're not in an election cycle with this commission. And so I think that's an interesting distinction that is being made by Dick. I think that might be part of the right breed that we're talking about a pledge. The pledge into 2026. I think so long as, like you said, they're not encumbering it. What's the pitfall or down? And then to me, as I'm thinking about it, is what is the ramification if they walk that back next year? There's
Well, we tried it before and it worked out okay. We just get a lot of grief at meetings. So I'll just tell everybody, we get teased mercilessly.
It
But
was in 19, if you recall, for various reasons, I was up here, we graciously invested 100,000, things changed and you walked it back.
Yes, we did. So we've done this
Cut all
before.
non-mandated programs.
Right, yeah.
And I think so long as it's under that same understanding that, again, with that understanding that there will be a different commission sitting at the time where the 2026 budget is being approved. Certainly don't think that you can mandate that 2026 budget is set in stone as it relates to this.
And that would not be the intention of my motion. So
Yeah.
my motion is, so in my mind, it is a pledge, so it's a communication from our body to the BCDC of the intention of this commission. So that's what I take a pledge to mean, is that we feel that's appropriate, and that is what we are telling you we feel is the right amount. And I hope that future commissions will honor our pledge, but that's where we're.
I think another way of terming it would be that this is a planning motion. This isn't necessarily an appropriation motion. So that's the other way that I think is easier to justify making this sort of a forward commitment, not an appropriation.
My advice to the commission would be to amend the motion to something like that, just for the sake of insurance on the liability perspective for future commissions. And so if you were to make that motion, I would go uncomfortable with that.
I'm comfortable with that amendment if someone would like to propose it.
And
You do it yourself.
All right, I will amend it to include that language, if that makes the rest of the commissioners more comfortable, that's what.
And my question is kind of the same line. I'm totally for this and I hope in 2026, we can do more if possible. You know, that would be my hope, you know, some things change, but you know, we don't know what's gonna happen. So, you know, I'm comfortable with the pledge, you know, as we're talking here, you know, that like we said, we talked back and forth, and it's no guarantee, you know, what you presented and, you know, investing in, you know, always live, you know, like goal to spend money to make money. I totally agree. So if we do, I'm totally in support of the proper motion.
And I concur my amendment, I guess,
Okay.
as the second.
So I have a motion and a second to pledge 130,000 starting in 2026. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Both same sign, motion passes.
Thank you very much, Chair. More.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So, yeah, I got another question, Jim.
Yes, sir.
Is this ongoing campaign for the next 4 or 5 years or?
No, the campaign started mid-September. We stopped in by mid-December
Okay,
is our goal. That's why we're here again. And others, we're in the same prerogative, you know, about mid-December, you go 1 or 2 weeks. And that's how it stops. And then probably in 6 years, 5 or 6 again, it'll be that somebody else, probably not me. When we retire this time, we'll back asking again because it's for those longer initiatives. So every 5, 6 years, capital campaign.
So until December, you're like us in the planning stage, and then after December, you'll be in implementation stage of this program.
Correct. And then we also have documents, I think we shared, how we're very transparent and come to our annual meeting in January. I mean, we'll have a celebration wherever we end up, hopefully 1 to 5 plus, we don't. And we'll keep working, probably some may come in a little longer. But then going forward, we have it set up how at least annually, everybody's gonna see it at our business meeting. We have other, very transparent in there quarterly, some people, some at least twice a year. And we'll give progress reports. We have it in our minutes to become more frequent as investors to the whole community. So you're seeing as we're going through it, where's money goes one bank account, where it's being invested in for the betterment.
And I'll share that I've been really impressed with the responsiveness of the VCDC, you know, particularly on financial matters. Anytime there's a question, you get an answer. I mean, unless something is strictly confidential, you guys are very, very good at getting back with clear answers on things and doing proactive outreach. I really appreciated the deep dive into finances talk that you offered to the board members. I think that, especially given some history, you guys are doing all the things right to make sure there's lots of daylight in your operations. So
Does that answer your question, Dave?
yes, sir.
Okay. Thank you again, everybody. Appreciate it.
Thanks.
thank you.
Matt or Tony, were they gonna show up or?
They are, I think they were relying on their time slot,
Okay, that's fine. We'll just go to the bottom.
so.
So Christmas holiday schedule. What is that one?
So the 23rd is a Monday. Typically, we have the 24th and 25th off. The governor has granted the 23rd. And so this is just me asking what you all think. Since our new holiday schedule doesn't take effect till the first of the year.
Like I said before, she's treating it like it's an election year. She's throwing those days off around a lot. But is that what our new, if the governor does it, is that what our new?
Yes,
It just is implementing that, but what we did was that went into effect starting 2025.
Andy, are you on?
Yes, I'm on.
What does that do to your scheduling or budget?
Well,
Is that-
what it does is, since if you call it a holiday, we pay holiday pay, but in this case, I think if you close the courthouse, it's just another day off for our folks. Obviously, people working will work. They'd just be given a different day off to compensate, to be equitable with other employees. So, we'd probably, have minimal staffing, but to get most people off, but, it wouldn't be overtime because it's not a holiday.
That's the distinction in the new policy too, is it's actually called administrative leave rather than a holiday.
Okay.
And that's the way the governor words it when she gives it to you.
It's good to plan ahead though, because I've got to get a bunch of people that day off before year end, so I'm paying attention.
I say Merry Christmas, have a day off.
I'll second it.
Yep. I have a motion and a second. Any further discussion?
It's been a stressful year.
It has.
So hearing no further discussion, all those in favor say aye.
Aye, Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Opposed, same sign, motion passes.
I'm sure the employees thank you.
I think I hear him right now.
I heard applause.
I think when we had this discussion was that the 4th of July?
Yep.
Yeah.
Some months ago, felt like years, that we talked about this and defer. At that time, we were sort of anticipating something like this might happen.
Yeah.
So,
Said it's gonna happen.
yeah,
Middle of the week, Christmas holiday.
yeah, they do make a difference.
Well, it's happened every year. It's either 4th of July is a request or
Yeah,
Christmas. It's,
yeah. Again, Merry Christmas. Okay.
yeah.
Right
We'll,
on time.
You guys can
we'll,
talk right
yeah, we'll
on
get
up.
started.
We still got 20 minutes.
We could all
We can
look
adjourn.
at each other for 20 minutes.
We can adjourn and then you're here for nothing.
Let's talk. Let's talk business, right? Agreed.
The ambulances are getting cheaper, right?
Yeah. We'll talk about that.
I was afraid of that.
Here for your reading pleasure there.
You know,
Terry, if you wanted electronically, we can send it to you as well.
Oh, that's okay. That's fine.
you know, they were talking of budgeting in those candidate forms. And when I first started, we were budgeting 25,000 a year for 5 years for an ambulance. Now we're budgeting 65,000 a year.
Yeah.
Yeah. A couple of you are newer and I haven't been back to talk about ambulances and things like that. If you don't know who I am, my name is Matt Callahan. I'm Chief of Fire Ambulance for the City of Vermillion. This is Division Chief Tony Plunder. He's in charge of EMS and Special Operations for our department. And so what we wanted to talk about today is the ambulances, the ambulance replacement, kind of give you a background if you're not familiar with how it started. The ambulance service actually started back in 1971. And with that, it was a partnership with the city and the county. City ran the operations side of it, and the county every 15 years was buying an ambulance. Now, back then, they probably had one, maybe two ambulances, I'm not 100% sure. Today, we currently have three, which means we were purchasing an ambulance every 5 years. Ambulance had the last 15 years, which was fine back, 10 years ago or so, before, when our call volume was less, mileage wasn't an issue. But as of now, things have increased quite substantially. In 2017, we added full-time employees, paramedic personnel to help support the residents of the county. Overall, we were reducing, helped to reduce the out-of-pocket costs for the citizens when instead of using other methods of medical transportation, such as helicopters. Since 2017, as you can see, our call volume, miles driven, and overall wear and tear on our vehicles have increased quite substantially, actually. The problem we're running into is age of vehicles with mileage. Currently, our oldest ambulance, Medic 3, a 2013 Chevy ambulance, has approximately 150,000 miles on it. This is the next ambulance that's set to be replaced, which would be approximately 2027 would be the replacement time frame. The problem is the cost that it's currently costing per year to mechanically try to keep this ambulance sound. Currently this year alone, we've spent right about $6,700 out of a $10,000 motor vehicle line item budget just in maintenance repairs on this vehicle.
It has a recurring ongoing DEF system issue that we'll take it in, we get it fixed, they send it back. Within a month, the lights are all back on and we're having issues and it goes back down to Chevrolet. It's beyond the capabilities of our local Chevy dealership, which requires us to send it down to Sioux City and potentially up to Sioux Falls now to try to get this thing fixed. But currently with the scheduled replacement in 2027, this vehicle is costing taxpayers too much money to keep it running. And due to loss in faith mechanically, this vehicle is becoming a safety and reliability issue for the crew and the patients that we transport. Also to note, since 2016, the cost of just this ambulance to keep it mechanically running is about $22,000 since 2016. Primarily, a lot of those costs have been in the last 3.5 years. So page 3, we'll talk about current costs. And I think Travis, don't have a heart attack. These numbers are correct. The current cost of an ambulance, we just got the quotes back, is $336,000. This is an increase of $61,000 from 2022 when we purchased the red ambulance that you see in the picture there. From our previous discussions over the past years, you know, when I started here, we were putting away, like Travis said, I think like $25,000 roughly. The ambulance that's going to be up for replacement, the 2017, actually cost us $105,000 when we bought it in 2013. So ambulances have tripled in price in 11 years. So the recommendation, I believe, back when we did the 2017 ambulance was $35,000. We'd start with, we'd go up by 5% every year. Unfortunately, 5%, that was a great estimate prior to COVID. COVID shot everything through the roof. We saw some years where it was anywhere from 15 to 20+% increases on vehicles. And so currently what we're looking at the time of this discussion, we're in an 18-month build process on an ambulance to receive it. So even if we ordered one by the end of this year, it could be mid-2026 to take delivery of a new vehicle. The future benefits of purchasing a new vehicle like we did in 2022 is the ability to take those boxes and remount them in 9 years onto new chassis in 2031 and 2034. The boxes are designed to be remounted on a pickup truck chassis because they're coming off pickup truck chassis. In 2017, we attempted to do a remount of a van style ambulance box, and we put it on a pickup truck chassis. Unfortunately, what we found out after we received it and we've had it now, it has been a good truck for us, but it is a very high profile truck because of the way they match up on the chassis. And so that's just not a safe way for us to operate. In the wind, it becomes very bouncy. But by sending the vehicles that we're currently purchasing at the end of that 9-year time frame, hopefully back to the manufacturer that built them, they then remove the box, they place it on the new one, and it's done just like a new truck when it would return to us for another 9-year rotation. So opportunities, from our understanding, the county commission sets aside a portion of the budget annually to eventually replace an ambulance. So when an ambulance comes due, there's some money put aside for that ambulance. In researching some different funding opportunities to assist, we've discovered there are some options to address the problem. The USDA rural grant funding has the opportunity through rural development grant for us to either obtain a grant, a low interest loan, or both to help fund the project. Speaking with them briefly, we understand, talking city versus county, that the city has the ability, if it's in the city's name, it has the ability to pull more grant funding because of the demographics within the city. Up to $50,000 is what we understand. So that would be a significant help to apply to that. 50,000, off of 336 is a big help.
And I'm guessing you discussed that with the city and they're comfortable buying.
Yeah. Yep. I'll get to that part. No, you're fine. You're fine. Don't let me forget though. Okay. That we briefly touched on. So we have that. There is that option to do one of those, both of those, part of those, those are potential. The ambulance manufacturer also offers a loan program, to where you can obtain a loan, current loan rates, stuff like that apply. You can do it for the length of your vehicle, or whatever you happen to set up. And then there's a third option, and that's a leasing option. And so, can be done one of two. I mean, it can be done just like you do when you go to Ford and you lease a car. You get it, you have it for the time period, and at the end, you can trade it in and get a new ambulance, or you can buy it outright. And so those are really the three options that, we found out there, that are available. As the fleet continues to age, and mileage continues to go up and placed on these vehicles, I feel like we're coming back every 2 to 3 years, and we're trying to replan this ambulance time frame replacement plan. And it is stressful because we're working right now. We're down to 2 trucks instead of 3. We've got one out getting some mechanical repairs because of the high mileage on it. To give you just a kind of an update, the ambulance we bought in 2022 has just over 20,000 miles on it right now. The ambulance we bought in 2017 is approaching 100,000 miles already. And then the one that, the Chevy ambulance that was bought in 2013 is 150,000 plus right now for mileage. So our mileage is significantly increasing, which is adding to the repair costs. So obviously this is really, it's kind of a multi-jurisdictional issue, but we need the support of multi-jurisdictions here, county and city. What Jeffrey brought up, we have spoken to the city, we've spoken to the city manager, regarding this. We've talked to the loan, some of the loan people, USDA specifically. One of the things that they noted is whoever is titling the vehicle has to have the loan or grant in their name so that it flows and follows through. So, when we look at, currently the city titles everything in their name, we pay for the maintenance, we pay for the insurance, we pay for the liability on the vehicle. Would probably be best to continue that. Speaking with the city manager, all we would really probably need to do is just have some type of, intergovernmental agreement between the 2 attorneys that they draft up that, the county is making the payment every year if we did a lease or loan option, and that covers all of that. So, as far as, loan versus leasing, the city prefers not to lease because it becomes an auditing trail, not problem, but it gets kind of sticky when you're dealing with leases, apparently. I didn't know that, but curious whether they're shaking your head, yes. So, doing a loan potentially is probably one of the smoother options for that. And so really, what we're looking at is this is really kind of becoming, it's not aggravating, it's frustrating for the staff because at 2 o'clock in the morning when they're traveling down the road, taking somebody to Sioux Falls, and all of a sudden they're getting check engine lights and the vehicle's telling them it's going to decelerate, and they've got a patient in the back. It could be critical. The amount of critical care transfers that we're doing are increasing, have been since we became paramedic level, and we've added critical care paramedics, and we have ventilators and pumps and all that stuff. We're taking high risk patients sometimes, and it's nerve wracking as you're going down the road. Whether the truck, the mechanics will tell you, no, it's not going to decelerate because it's an emergency vehicle. We'll just tell you that it's going to keep running. And so far it has, but what happens when it does decelerate to 4 miles an hour and we've got a critical patient in the back and we're trying to meet them, whether from Wakanda to a local hospital on an 911 call or interfacility transfer from Vermillion to Sioux Falls or Sioux City. It can be nerve wracking for the staff. So replacement on the vehicles aren't going to get any cheaper. They're not. Lead times aren't going to get any shorter. I think we're at about the shortest lead time we've seen now since COVID. At one point we were 2+ years on ambulances. Fire trucks are 3+ years right now. But they're creeping down a little bit, but I don't see them getting a lot better. Prices are not going to come back to where they were or even remotely close. Availability is not an issue of chassis as of right now. Those seem to be fairly readily available. So, that's really what I have for you, on the presentation. If there's anything Chief Plunder and I can answer for you, you'd be happy to entertain you. I mean, we'd be happy to entertain you, or entertain any questions you have.
So I'm sure you said it, you're looking at a new chassis and new box.
Correct. It's be 100% replacement of this vehicle.
What's in the ambulance fund now?
Well, we budgeted 65,000 this year.
33,000. 10%.
Yeah, it's not much right now, because we did just purchase one not that long
Yeah.
ago.
But we did 65,000 for next year.
Okay. So we'd be, yeah, so in that, I believe that, Carrie, correct me, but that's a January, like a payment, but it shows in January that it's
Yes.
there.
Yeah,
And so you would have 25s and 26s
And 24s.
and 24. So there'd be 3 years in there if we were to move forward with something.
Did we do that in 22 or 23? We bought it.
We got it.
One in 20.
Yep, we got it in February of 23. It's a 22 chassis. Sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we'll have 24 and 25s and 26s. But what did we budget last year? Was it 65 again?
I looked that up. It was just slightly less, I think, because it was going up a certain percentage each year. I can go back and look here real quick.
Looking at the options, with the loan, nobody. I remember back when I started in this field, nobody wanted to take a loan for apparatus. You wanted to pay cash, you wanted it to be yours, you didn't have to worry about it. But it just seems to be the day and age that even fire trucks are moving to that. They're on a 15-year loan and you pay them off and you get the next one and, just because of the cost. The other thing it does, I think, is it gives you more solid numbers to budget for on the same rate.
Yeah, but you pay a lot of interest,
Yeah.
especially on a 15 year.
Yeah,
If you can't afford it, if it's too expensive to begin with, paying interest on it isn't good either.
One thing that we kind of skimmed over is the USDA grants like a low interest on, but I think the lowest of all lot. So it's better than going through a local bank.
So there's a $50,000 grant available, but then in addition, they would
Supplement
have
it with the loan.
potentially enough to loan us the remainder of it.
Correct, yes.
How, do you know how long?
For some reason, 6 years keeps popping in my head, but we also talked about like the length of what we determine as the life of the vehicle.
There is potentially a low enough interest rate that we might guess that it's just gonna track with inflation for 6
Yeah.
years and then it's,
For some reason, I want to say their interest rates were still in the fours
yeah,
with USDA.
I'm not willing to bet that we're gonna have 4% inflation for 6 years on it.
So to answer your question, 40,600 was what we budgeted for 2024.
How much again? Sorry.
40,600.
Sounds like a lot of the problems are deaf then, and this particular one, it's,
Yes.
yeah, it's 2 years too new, darn it. This, deaf problems are something that would come up in an ambulance because deaf diesel fuel vehicles, one of the biggest problems with that system is idling. You sit in idle, and I've had a couple vehicles that built since 2012 that I've had that issue with. And I know you have to sit in idle. My employees sat in idle and stayed warm in the wintertime and cost me quite a bit in deaf issues. So going forward, are you thinking of going with gasoline vehicles, or what's the thought going forward?
We've been having kind of that conversation back and forth between the deaf and the gas. Our 2017 and our 22, we're not seeing a whole lot of deaf issues like we are seeing in 2013. That is an option to put in a gas chassis, obviously. So, we haven't really been sold on one way or the other. I think the mechanics would prefer probably gas.
I'm sure they would, but by the time you start paying for all that extra fuel,
Yeah,
because that size of a truck, you burn a lot more gas.
Yeah, they say you're gonna burn more fuel. The other thing that they haven't, the big gas motors haven't been put back on ambulances now for it's only been about 5 years. So we're not seeing long-term what's happening long-term with them. Part of the difference between the Chevrolet van cutaway chassis on this ambulance versus the pickup ones, the two pickup ones we have, they seem to regen much more frequently, in little bits at a time versus waiting for the thing to get 100% full and then try to regen. The pickup ones, our city shop actually has the ability with those, the way they're made, to force the regen, so that if it's been a while, you know, we've just been doing a lot of idle time, football games, things like that. They can hook up to it and actually force it to regen and clean it, where the Chevrolet, they can't. It just doesn't give that.
You have to stay away from those Duramaxes.
Well, and so the city mechanics are having a hard time finding someone that is very strong with the Duramax motor to try to pinpoint this. You know, and besides the depth issues the ongoing depth system issues we've had with the Chevrolet, we also have a small coolant leak on it, which we're having trouble pinpointing. It's about every 6 months we're adding coolant to it. We just had pretty significant power steering leak on it. We had some brake fluid that was leaking, that's been corrected, but it's just kind of. Yeah, I mean,
Those are issues that are age related, you know, that's
Yep.
rubber parts.
Yep, absolutely.
And, so there's nothing you can do to
Right.
help that other than buy more often, and of course, we don't wanna do that.
To give you an idea, every time we take it down to Sioux City for repairs in the deck, it's about.
Yeah.
It's usually out for a week.
That's about what my Dodge and other Chevy were, was about 2,500 per visit to repair deck issues.
My dog would never had any issues.
Well, if you don't idle a lot, they're absolutely, that's not an issue if you don't let it sit and idle a lot, a significant amount. I know you're forced to.
Yeah, ours, I mean, unless they're in a garage and they're out and about, they're running, they're idling. The newer ones do have, auto high idles on them, they'll automatically idle up, you know, and to compensate for all of that. I mean, the new ones are much more advanced than the 2013 that we have. So it has been discussed, the issue that we run into is, no dealership will work on it.
Yeah.
And so, you know, that will, and if we were to take it, you know, say we went to, you know, I'll use Nebraska because it's close by and maybe they don't have it, or even Colorado, we were to go on a, you know, there was a large scale wildland deployment and our ambulances were pulled, you know, we were pulled to go. And we've deleted it, and we get there, they actually, some states will check your vehicles for the emissions, and if you don't have it hooked up, they actually send you home.
Yeah.
So you drive all the way there, and then you get sent back home, so.
Not really an option, but, this has nothing to do with, you know, my opinion on this, but you guys do have a contingency plan in case you do have breakdowns, right?
We currently have 3 ambulances. We try and staff 2 of them 24/7. So as it sits right now, our 17's in the shop right now. So we do have 2 for the time being. But oftentimes, I want to say 43 times this year so far, we've had to use all 3 ambulances at once. It's a lot. And I think we're at 80 some for our second out in ambulance at the same time.
Did you ever have an instance when you had 43, in those 43 times when there was an additional call and it would have been good to have 4?
Not this year, but I do recall since I've been on.
I'm not thinking that's something we could solve.
No, I know.
That's a frighteningly high
So
number.
that's where we rely on our partners with mutual aid. So we have a mutual aid agreement with Yankton County. So like, if we're down 1, as we are now, we're down to 2. One's on a transfer, one goes to a condo. We can call Yankton and come over and help cover the ambulance side for us. Similar to what we're doing for Elk Point right now. Their sole ambulance is out of service, so we're going down to Elk Point helping them out. Taking care of their patients.
Yeah. Yeah, and to kind of help offset that, you know, I mean, because we know our chances of getting, you know, we're seeing our, you know, 3 calls at a time increase. we're gonna start at some point, having a couple times a year, we'll have 4 calls going on. And one of the things we did when we bought our new rescue engine this past year, we added paramedic level equipment to that vehicle. And so it has medical equipment on it. We can respond with that vehicle, provide patient care until a transport unit arrives and then transport. We can do everything with that truck we can with the ambulance, basically, for the most part, and just wait for a transport. So we have kind of contingencies set up to try to plan for that worst case scenario.
Bad news all around.
So you're hoping to replace this by 26?
I don't know how long the Chevy will last.
Is it?
I don't know if we'll even make 20.
It'll last.
It'll get to
You'll be able to buy
26, but
parts for that for another 5 to 10
Yes.
years, but what that cost is what comes
Yeah,
in.
it's that
And,
gap issue that they.
you're in the position where I've bought used equipment that was 10, 12, 15 years old. When I purchase it, first thing I do is replace all the rubber parts. That's just routine, why? I couldn't afford to be down, for some radiator hose or hydraulic hose somewhere on the unit, breaking. You're in that position where I just bit the bullet and replaced all the rubber all one time, which ended up being a lot cheaper and reduced my risk of downtime. But that's it, not much you can do otherwise.
Yeah, and to go along to understand it, I think that's one of our goals is, we can shorten the life of our trucks and do a remount halfway through. The box will last us 18 years.
Yeah.
It's the chassis with all the rubber components, like you were saying, let's face it, the motors and all that, that's not built like they used to be, the stuff, vehicles just don't last like they used to.
I think in my opinion, they'll last a lot longer than they used to.
150,000 miles on Duramax isn't
It's
a lot.
nothing, yeah. My, that's one of the reasons I always bought diesel pickups and trucks, is they last longer, they're cheaper to run. They're more durable, you're more, with amateur drivers, or low skilled drivers, they're less likely to overheat and ruin the engine right off the bat. So you're really, I've more or less ran most of my pickups and trucks to 300,000 and then sell them. And there's a few of those that I still see on the road or at a gas station, and I'll talk to them and they're at $500,000 and still running. But they're paying for some of those things that the front ends, the steering parts go to heck. Usually 100, 150 to 200,000 now. And the rubber parts, as we've already mentioned, they go out on pretty much on a age basis, not mileage basis. So, the maintenance issues get to be a big deal. I understand that completely.
I understand the dependability issue. 3 o'clock in the morning, interstate, it's 40 below.
Yeah. And that death light comes on and a little while later, it takes you down to 20 miles an hour. That's, in an ambulance, that's an emergency.
Any other questions for us that we can answer?
I think this is just gonna require more conversation on our part.
Yeah. Yeah.
No, absolutely. Yeah, no, we weren't looking for an answer today. We wanted to bring it to you and bring you the options that we found, that can assist with replacement, of this vehicle plus long-term. And hopefully get us into a better rotation as our call line continues to increase, and mileage continues to go up, everyday use continues to go up.
Thank you. Good, thorough report.
Thank you, Jeff.
Yeah.
Appreciate it.
let's see, county properties and Wakanda. So we just need to, we discussed those two.
Yeah.
Actually, it was just the one we were gonna do
The one in Wakanda, what we decided on, right, the one on the western end of Wakanda that's behind that residence and farmland.
Right.
So we just need to start that process.
were we just gonna do a quick claim on the one by the pit though?
No, that one,
Quite.
no, we're holding it in trust, we're not the actual owners. Clay County isn't the owner, we're just holding it in trust on, and so, it's the county has the ownership rights to that property.
Well, we can. How do we get it off our,
Would have to put it on the tax deed, but I'd have to do it, put it on the tax roll and do that process, which I know is years long, otherwise, like we talked about, and a property owner could theoretically try to make an adverse possession claim, but that would be outside of our realm of, anything we could do. So I think at this point, my understanding, and from what I've done, when they talked about, I think it's either go through the tax deed process, we can start that now. And then at some point, if, adjacent landowner next to the pit decided to go through adverse possession, they could go through that process. And if the court was inclined to agree that adverse possession has been met, then ownership may take effect for them at that time.
either way, it sounds like we need. What's that, Nick?
That takes some years, right?
Adverse possession can, it takes years in order to make a claim, but once you get in front of the court, it could be a quick process. You just have to show that you've met the elements already, and one of those elements is a period of years that has passed already.
Right, okay.
And it has.
Yeah.
Should we start the tax? I mean, I know it's gotta be on our books for 4 years before we start tax deed. But do we put it on there to just get started?
It's on,
It is on.
it got put on in 24.
Okay, so it's on, so we just
So
gotta wait
there's
time.
value in 24, taxes will be due in 25 for the first time, so.
So in 4 years, we can start the process then. At least it's started. Okay,
So the other one in Wakanda then is the one that, View Farm, kind of behind Plant Street there. That one, I did have an assessed value for you, decided to go with the ag assessed value, I don't know if you wanted that.
yeah.
It was $335.
So did they change it to 2,500? Is that what you
Yes,
said?
so under SDCL 613-1, obviously that's. It's under 20, it's SDCL 613-4, any surplus property appraised pursuant to 613-2, so we do have to do the appraisal process, which is actually needs to involve the 3 landowners. But if it's appraised at $2,500 or less, may be sold by the governing board at a private or public sale without notice. So there's more to that, but essentially it does reference specifically back up to 613-2, that that's the appraisal process. And 613-2 says after the governing board of the political subdivision, the county commission here, has made a determination of surplus property, the governing board shall appoint 3 real property owners of the political subdivision to appraise the value of such property. Such real property owners shall file a report of the appraisal with the fiscal officer of the political subdivision. Governing board may employ a person or persons licensed by the state to do the appraisal in lieu of the property owners. So I think we have 2 options. Well, the first thing what we have to do is under 613-1, we have to determine that this is property that is surplus. Did we do that already?
We haven't surplused it yet.
We'd have to surplus it, then we would have to have either 3 landowners of Clay County or someone that we employ that is licensed by the state to do the appraisals, make a determination of value. If that determination of value is deemed to be under $2,500, the governing board here, the commission, can sell it at a private or public sale without notice. Over $2,500, then you have to go through the notice proceedings, essentially.
Are you that licensed person?
I'm not licensed for fee appraisal, I'm licensed for max appraisal, I'm certified.
So it's gotta be fee appraisal or,
It is fee appraisal, to do fee appraisals, and yep, so it's a person licensed by the state to do fee appraisals. Would be the alternative to 3 landowners.
Okay.
Right now.
That must be new, because the last time we did it, we just took our appraisal for our value.
Yeah, that's what it reads now. It's a fee appraisal. So I think step 1 is surplusing it, and then step 2 is deciding whether or not to have 3 landowners of Clay County or a employee fee appraisal.
It's gonna be cheaper if we just get 3 landowners.
Yeah. I think what you do is, I can do some research into the process that those 3 would need to take, but I think essentially they just need to be provided with documentation that they request pertinent to determining the valuation of that property.
Well, last time we just took 3 commissioners. Last time we did this, so. Weren't you part of that one, Dave? You and Mike and Phyllis?
I think we might have been, yeah.
We were out on the road, I was like, hey, figure out the ag value, but no, that's still, again.
It's what they used last time.
Property owner in Clay County, I'm happy to help if that helps.
It's just as simple if 3 of us do it.
Want to jump in?
Sure.
I can do it, but you're probably better versed in those sorts of things than I am. Old rubber hoses on assessing property, not so much.
The governing board has to make the appointment of the 3 landowners. I think the problem that I see running into when we go commissioners is that how are you making an appointment?
Appoint ourselves seems a little circular.
It does seem circular.
We'll appoint ourselves to other boards.
Yeah.
My recommendation would be to find 3 separate landowners. I mean, I think this statute doesn't say you can't, it's just a matter of, is it proper to, how do you make that appointment of yourselves? You should conflict yourself off with a self-appointment. And then suddenly for appointing 3, and you have 2 left to make appointments, and we can't operate.
I wonder if we could get,
Can we still appoint Dave, Phil?
Yeah, I don't think anything stops you from making an appointment. I mean, I think the wisest thing to do would be to, you know, potentially operate the vote. But then you have.
I can ask Hazen or.
have one of us.
I can ask Hazen or Glennis or they'll do it.
Well, that's what I'm thinking, is having realtors who routinely do this sort of stuff that are also landowners, and every one of them are. That would be a good choice. Would be if we should be able to find 3 that would donate that much time.
I think you could, and I think it would be the cleanest.
I'm okay as long as they're donating their time, because this is gonna be like a $50 sale.
Yeah,
I don't want
I
to
know.
go on the, you know, on the backside.
yeah.
Yeah, you sell it to them like it's their public duty, it's like they're.
Can you just wrap up a little quick letter? I was like, you have been called up to serve. Daily compensation is $0.
Well, yeah, because I can ask them, hey, what do you think, you know, give me a value on this. I can type a letter here, sign this.
Sure.
Numbers you give me.
Yeah, I think the first step is surplus it, and then the governing board needs to appoint 3 individuals, and then they'll make that determination of value, and then we can make the determination how to go about selling that property pursuant to that.
So we don't need the 3 if we go with Dave's.
Well,
With
Well,
the
I would-
license fee.
if we did a license, we would just have, the alternative would be 1 person. Person or persons, it says, so we could do a singular, licensed by the state to be appraisal. So that is an alternative to the 3 individuals.
Well, I'm not an appraiser.
No,
I'm
No,
a real
but you
estate
might be able to.
and a lot of the real estate, most of the real estate agents aren't appraisers, like
No.
Mr. Melby was
Yeah, Melby's an appraiser.
licensed appraiser.
No, but we might get.
Yeah.
I don't know,
Get it.
I'm not gonna offer him up, but Kenny Gerard, I believe is.
Yeah,
He's right there in town.
right.
The statute does say that you have to employ 1 to do that work.
All right.
So how about this? Dave, if you'd be comfortable, you know all the realtors, do you think you could think of 3 realtors
Oh,
that
yeah.
you could task with this? Ask them if they'd send you a letter, we could consider at the next meeting, appointing those 3 people. And then they can sign the letters and then we got it. Does that seem fair to people?
Yeah.
It should be kind of easy, you know, for a realtor especially, 'cause they're all pretty much they can easily go on Beacon.
Yeah, we all.
You can look at
all Beacon.
surrounding properties on a per square foot, bare land, property basis, and it should take a half hour at most to do it.
Is it just, which ones do we need that on now?
So I think just that one, that's
Just
kind of
that one,
behind
right?
Those houses in the corner and
I'm gonna ask Carrie, do you want, I only have abbreviated legal, but I have the parcel. number. Which one would you prefer? Or which would anyone prefer as far as the parcel or legal?
Probably legal for
Ready?
our purposes.
Or you can stop in.
Yeah, I'll stop
unless
in,
you
I'll
want
get
it
the
in the
info from
record
you,
now.
then what's that?
Unless you wanted it in the record now.
It just needs to be in the record when you formally surplus it.
Yeah, which we'll do that next meeting.
I'll just make sure it's in each letter. Yeah. The legal.
Right? Okay. And then we also addressed a few in Vermillion. Would you want to talk about those right now?
Yeah.
Because I have more information on those as well. Okay. They can back it down.
You on that person?
Well, let's start with 1, 2, and 3. They're the simple ones.
Yep.
Railroad.
So number 1 is owned by City of Vermillion.
Yeah.
Done. Number 2 is also owned by City of Vermillion, but we currently have it in our system as owned by Clay County. So I will be correcting that. The problem is that in this process, we found number 3. Number 3, we just added it to the map and everything. That one is owned by Clay County. That was purchased on tax deed. I thought I had the date in front of me and I don't have it. 1962 on tax deed. So we now own number 3. And then number 4, we thought we owned the north part. We don't, and the adjacent landowner has been assessed and is already been taxed on.
Okay.
So we just combined those.
Perfect.
So that's why 4 is now 1 parcel. So as far as the stuff in the city, the parcel number 3 is the only one we need to worry about now.
City have any plans for their 1 and 2?
No, I don't know.
Can we check with them?
No, we can ask them tonight. So they're,
Yeah.
My suggestion would be just give it to the city.
That would be my guess.
Highway and
Yep.
there's highway lot and right away. It hasn't been platted since the original lots and blocks. It's the remainder of lot 14 and 15 that were left after the railroad right of way was split. And then that street right of way was split. It's just the remainder of lots 14 and 15. You do own it. My
I'm sure
2
we're on
cents.
this one, right?
Yeah, I have to be from 1962. So my 2 cents would be, it would be pretty much just give it to the city. But
I would be inclined to do so. Does anybody have an issue with that?
Merry Christmas.
Yeah.
Well, we'll talk to him tonight when we see him.
Yeah.
Okay.
Let-
I was like, I'm ready to make a motion if anybody, if there's no opposition, but yeah.
We'll just wait and see what they think. They might not want it.
They may not want it. I can see where the only reason that they may want it would be to aid in the maintenance of the street. That it could be useful to them to have that. The rest of that property, the west, it's outside of those lots 1 and 2. Those are apparently in the railroad right away.
Is there,
They have their supplies.
is there a wellhead at one? Or a structure?
Yeah, that's, 1 is, that's where well number 3 is.
Okay.
Yeah. City well number 3.
Place is number 4.
Browns.
Oh, Bill, or not Bill.
Dot.
Dot, yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Talk tonight.
And if you need any of those plat numbers, these numbers, anything like that, I've got them all.
Thanks.
Thanks. Department monthly reports for review. Did we get to see those?
Boy, and sure is thorough. It's all 50 pages of this, so.
Nothing for Fair Board, Clay County Park,
Nothing new there.
nothing for the building project yet. Joint jurisdiction there?
At that meeting last night where we, where the place out on West Main, down on the floodplain, both the city planning and county planning denied that request. So there are a number of reasons for it. Kind of put it back, encourage the guy that, you know, it's nothing against him or his project. It's, we're more worried about if we rezone it to commercial, that future uses could be a problem. And the future permitted uses could be a problem in that type of setting. So that was the beginning and the end. They'll be going back to Drew, I assume, and see if there's something that
Property
can be
that's like-
done.
Kind of down by train tracks and.
Below the line.
Right, below the Lenry and downhill from the bluffs development up on top. And it's currently really wetland and swampland. So
He already posted online this morning, he's gonna keep going, and if he has to, he'll bulldoze all the trees and turn it into cattle or hog farm.
that'd be okay. It's currently zoned one, A1, so it's agricultural, zone for agricultural use, and that would be an appropriate use for it.
Anything else, Nick?
No, not that I know of right now.
Any other commissioner reports? I do know we have executive session for personnel and legal. Okay, Linnea, I know has one too. Linnea, are you on? I'll entertain a motion to go into executive session.
So moved.
Second.
Motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Pose same sign. Motion passes.
Okay, this one.
Yep.
If I can.
Move to come out of executive session. Am I too early yet?
I think you're good.
Okay.
Second.
A motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Pose same sign when regular session.
Oh, yeah, we gotta.
Thank you, Tom.
Yeah. I'm not quite as pinned in my tables now. I can actually kind of get out of them.
If Linnea's there, she can come down.
Yeah, I'm stuck in the corner. I was gonna say, I think Linnea is still on Zoom, but looks like
She's coming.
She's
she's on it.
We could just put it on next week's agenda. Okay.
Now, if we kill a couple more hours, we can just go to the city hall. It's next meeting.
Yeah.
So you're wondering how to write an RFP?
Yeah, so I guess I can start the meeting. We're looking at software to replace Bossa Nova. Auditor and treasurer already went for theirs, Lisa has her program. So we kind of have this piece of the puzzle where we have to connect our CAMA system, which gives us full and true assessed values. And it takes those values and makes them taxable values for Carrie. And so it's this weird little piece of software that I've been having a hard time finding. And I've reached out to about 8 different companies, gotten some numbers back, but for anything in writing, I think I need to send out a request for proposal. And I'm not really sure how to approach that.
Well, I don't think it'd be any different than writing out a bid spec, right? Like what Andy does. I mean, it can be as formal or as informal as you need it to be, want it to be. Just put in there what you have to have.
This is what you wanted to do.
Right, and does that need to go through chair of the commission, or is that just? Stepped out? Okay.
Do you have a list of prospective vendors?
Yeah, so the first one I approached was Encode with Tyler Technology. Just because most people that also have ProVal in the system use Encode. Encode is a 4-office solution. They do equalization, auditor, treasurer, and register of deed. They were unwilling to break out their equalization part. So their suggestion to me was to go with their CAMA software that does everything start to finish using Pennington and Lawrence County. Conversion fees for that would be pretty high. If you want numbers, I don't have numbers in writing. I can tell you what they told me, but again, none of that is in writing. So that would be about $135,000.
And none of this is in your budget for next year, right?
And beyond that, that's a full CAMA conversion. Our last CAMA conversion was from Terrace County ProVal. You guys probably don't remember. It took us about 7 years. We went live with values in 2021. So I'm like 3 years later, I want to do a full CAMA conversion again. I don't think so. But it's a lot of work. It's a lot of man hours. It's a lot of data entry and making sure everything is working out, making sure your square footages are the same, making sure everything's translated over. The other option, T-Tech works pretty frequently with Vanguard. A lot of the other counties that work with T-Tech have Vanguard. There's still quite a bit of manual entry on the freeze side of things. They took care of a lot of the factoring, discretionary factoring stuff that they don't do freezes. So your elderly tree reductions, freeze, all of that would still be manual entry. There's not a formula for those in Vanguard. And that's again, another full CAMA conversion. The other hiccup with going to Vanguard is that they use a different cost table than all the other software that I'm not sure how many cost tables are out there. When we talk about the answer. But South Dakota only allows you to use either a Marshall and Swift cost table or a Vanguard cost table. That's in state law. And so whatever I go to, it either has to comply with that using Vanguard or Marshall and Swift. Marshall and Swift is pretty universal. That's what we're using right now. So if we were to do CAMA conversion to Vanguard, we'd also be converting our cost table information and kind of putting, your quality condition, your grading scales, all of that kind of stuff. And I'm not sure how well that translates. I anticipate that would be even more manual entry to do that. The other thing with that is with Vanguard, what I've been told is that it's harder to convert health. So Vanguard, 10 years from now, Vanguard goes under. I don't see that happening, but if that were to happen, you've got your information in a Vanguard system that doesn't convert back out over to Marshall and Swift. So I'd like to stick with Marshall and Swift if that's good. So then I also went with Augmented Valuation. They're the current vendors for ProVal. They have an administration module. It's an add-on. There's 3 things you add on. It would all be in one program. You'd only be entering stuff in one spot, which would be a huge upgrade. Right now, every time we get a sale from Lisa, we have 3 different spots where we have to change owner names, and that doesn't help carrying them to get an upload once a year from us to do that. So this would kind of consolidate everything into be one spot. Super helpful. I have a conversation with them at 12:30 here. Hopefully getting numbers locked down a little more. That one was really high. That was 340,000 because they have to write it specifically for state law requirement. And again, none of this is in writing, so I'm not sure where we stand on that one. I also reached out to DevNet. They have presence in Brown County and Dean. They currently only use the cost table side of it, not the administration side of it, for their administration side of it. They were the ones that specifically asked for a request for proposal for any further information. Ultra is what Coddington uses. Coddington has ProVal and Ultra. Ultra again is a 4-office solution, and I don't believe they're willing to break out the equalization side of things just for one county. And then got a phone call yesterday from Catalyst. They do State Department of Revenue. And that was pretty promising. So I'd like to explore that a little bit more as well, get some stuff in writing and figure it out from there. They'd be they have large presence across the United States. And, like I said, they've already worked with the Department of Revenue on modernizing everything they have there. So it was pretty affordable. It would be a per parcel price, which I think is more appropriate considering we're a pretty small county, only have 9,200 parcels. So that made more sense to me than a flat fee that whether you have 30,000 or 9,000, it's the same fee. So I'll explore that one a little more too. But yeah, that's kind of where I'm at. Since you asked about, I think that's everything. I think that's everything. It's been a lot of work. I've been working on this since April. Kind of ran up to the point where I was mostly wondering what I need to ask from you guys. So I think
Did that answer your question? Or
yeah.
how to write one or?
Well, I can work with template theory and figure it out. Find a template, run it by them first. I just didn't know if that's something that needed to go through you guys or not.
It's not legally binding. I mean, it's not, it's just what you want, what you need. So. And you're gonna get somebody call you going, we can't quite do this, but we can substitute this. And then you'll have to make that decision if it's worth it.
I wouldn't have a lot of those.
Yeah, professional services, so we have no obligation, we have no obligation to bidding specifically, I think those squarely fall in professional services, they offer them just to allow us to contract in a way that's most advantageous for the county.
And nice thing about RFPs is they're not very binding. You're just asking for the quote of sorts. And no obligation to take that or any of the other RFPs.
Kind of high level over. You don't need to get into the weeds with all of it. I have a lot more if you want to know more.
Well,
Nothing more, but.
yeah. We're hoping you have a lot of years to go learn other new things too.
I feel like I'm learning a lot.
What an ugly thing to say, Dan.
No. That's the hopeful.
You're stuck here.
I call it stuff, but yeah.
No.
Thank you.
I'm sure
Well,
the last
today
week
I-
or so.
Whoever you get,
Yeah,
the conversion would be as easy as our Paylocity conversion, then. So much of it that I thought was gonna be manual entry was just automatic, and I didn't have to do anything with it. So I hope whoever you get.
Yeah.
I hope so too. Like I mentioned, 4 of those would be full camera conversions, 4 of the options I told you. Only one of them told me they've ever converted out of profile before. I'm like, I would love to have it just work. No, not have a 7-year process of texting and failing and texting and failing and waiting and then finally going live to 3 years later to run.
I just can't believe there's not a company out there, since every county has to use this probably across the United States.
3,000 or so.
Here you go.
Yeah.
This is it.
And that's the problem is everywhere you go, your state tax law changes.
But there's still 66 counties in this state that have to use.
And that's why I started with the ones that are in South Dakota and none of them have the teeth that I use. Because everyone is using Vanguard and Encode. Well, Encode told me no, Vanguard's a full conversion. Or they use ProVal and Ultra. Ultra said no, because that's 4 offices, auditor and treasurer and something else. They're not gonna break their software apart just so I have to see.
Right.
Or Orion, I mean, there's a reason Pennington and Warrants use that. That's really heavy on the commercial side. And again, getting into the weeds of it, you have different methodology with your math appraisal and accident. But it's hard to find small county what we need. And then you look at the state and you look at how many, Union County does not have a CAMA system yet. They're working on it. But I'm like, I don't know how you do it without your calculator, paper and pencil, and property visits.
Well, we're mainly behind this desk worried about what it's gonna cost.
Yep.
And that it's gonna work correctly. And just run with that.
I did have the one that quoted me the highest was the one I was most excited about because they said they could go live in March of 2026.
Of course. Of course.
So again, have another conversation then with that.
Good.
All right, thank you.
Nothing else, I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved. Second.
A motion and a second, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those same sign, we are adjourned. Thank you.